A dominating win in Los Angeles over the Chargers has the Broncos still right in the thick of it in the AFC. And we'll break it all down coming up next on the Broncos Postgame Show. Hello, and thank you for joining us here in studio. I am Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. The defense took care of business in LA, and the Broncos offense made enough plays right when they needed to. A lot of touchdowns today as they win 24-7. Nick, they did what they needed to today.
Yeah, the first thing I have to do is congratulate the team as a whole, but also congratulate Vance Joseph and that defense. And all I can say is, regulators, mount up. That's exactly what they did. And like you said, Phil, the defense played well. The offense is still trying to find their stride. I know that's really difficult to say at this point in the season, but we saw some creativity late from Sean Payton, so I'm still optimistic about this team.
Yeah, the game got to a point there where they were just trying to take the air out of it, especially when Justin Herbert left this one. Let's take a look at the highlights from SoFi. First quarter, the Chargers backed up. Baron Browning gets a hand on it, and Jonathan Cooper. Whoa, great hands there. The Buckeye duo getting it done. And on the very next play, Javonte Williams takes it 3 yards. His first rushing score of the season. The Broncos led 10-0 at the break. Third quarter, every week we're seeing this, Nick. Courtland Sutton being held, still hauls it in with the other hand. A 46-yard touchdown, his 10th of the season. The first Bronco to do that since 2014. The Chargers would score a touchdown, did not get the shutout today, but the Broncos sealed the deal with a 13-play, 75-yard drive. It took more than 7 minutes off the clock, and it finished with a nice play design here. Adam Troutman, his third of the year. If there was any doubt, P.J. Locke and Josie Jewell put it to rest. 2 takeaways on the day for the Broncos defense. And the Broncos went on to win 24-7 the final. Let's go out to LA and check in with our team reporters, Sydney Jones and Aric DiLalla.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, this was a big win here on the road, Aric. This is the first divisional road win since 2019. This team came out here to Los Angeles to get back on track, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, it was great. Said they never trailed. They took control of the game, which was really impressive. Yeah. They won the turnover battle, which, again, we talk about how does this team win football games. That's how you do it. You win the turnover battle. Yeah. There was a critical stretch in the first quarter where the Broncos, Russell Wilson gets picked off on the first offensive play, but the defense comes up with a big 4th down stop. And then after Jonathan Cooper gets a pick, the Broncos are able to punch it in and score, take advantage. Again, they never trailed. Wasn't always perfect, and the lead was only 10-0 at halftime. But the Broncos thoroughly dominated this football game, Sid, and with some results around the league, they're right in the playoff race.
Yep, exciting stuff. Aric, you know, I want to talk about this defense a little bit more because you really can't ask for much more from them. They only gave up just 1 touchdown, had 6 sacks this evening here in Los Angeles, too. I mean, great performance by them.
Really good on 3rd down, very impressive. Yeah. The Chargers were 0 of 12 on 3rd down, 1 of 6 on 4th down. So they're combined impressive. 1 of 18 on those very important downs. Like you mentioned, a lot of sacks. Sid, they were able to get to the quarterback. And Easton Stick did come in. He played the second half. But I want to make it clear, they were having a lot of success when Justin Herbert was in there as well. The Chargers did not score. They got to Herbert. They flustered him. Maybe the best defensive performance of the year by this team.
I agree. And Aric, we have to talk about wide receiver Courtland Sutton because he's out here just doing Courtland Sutton things every single week. Another highlight reel catch for him, that one-handed grab in the end zone. Incredible.
Yeah, really good. And again, not a ton of yards, 60-something yards for him on this day. And the offense passed the ball a little bit more efficiently, relied on the ground game. But again, he does just keep making those highlight level plays.
Phil, we'll go ahead inside the locker room here to talk to a few players after this, but until then, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Back here in studio alongside Nick Ferguson, I am Phil Milani. 24-17, Nick. The Broncos at 7-6. They're tied with a lot of teams in the AFC right there, fighting for that wild card spot. What does the win mean to you?
Well, the first thing is the team is able to reinvigorate themselves and kind of show that confidence. I mean, you lose a game like they lost against the Houston Texans, it makes it really difficult at times. But being able to turn the page, put that behind you, and bounce back, that shows the fortitude that this team has been talking about for a while. And like you said, Phil, they're still in the hunt. Who would have thought after 1-5 start, the Broncos are still in the thick of it? And I don't believe, Phil, I've ever seen a year like this in the NFL when you look at the AFC and see so many teams close, not just from a record standpoint, but from a talent standpoint as well.
Yeah, the Steelers, Colts, Texans, Bengals, and Bills all tied at 7-6. And believe it or not, Nick, the Broncos are just one game behind the Chiefs for the division. So there's going to be a lot on the line here with 4 games to go. The Broncos have fought, clawed, climbed out of that hole, and now they're right here. They're playing meaningful games, and I agree with you, Nick. I mean, to bounce back after the loss last week, there was never really any doubt today.
No, there wasn't any doubt, and that was one of the things I'm sure that Coach Payton talked to his team about, being able to start early. They started a little slow, but not as slow as they started in the game against the Houston Texans, getting Javonte on the board. First rushing touchdown, I believe, since 2021 for Javonte. So that kind of started the Broncos in the right track. And then things just started to build. That pass, Russell was able to throw to Courtland Sutton. Listen, I know people at home were screaming, throw the ball, throw the ball. But Russell took his time, patience, and it was all reliable. Number 14, Courtland Sutton, that came up on the opposite end of the touchdown. So great for the Broncos, great for Courtland Sutton, but this is a great confidence booster for this team moving forward.
Yeah, you got to feel good about where the Broncos stand now. Here's what the Broncos head coach, Sean Payton, had to say at the podium.
I mean, the third down numbers were big. The turnovers, we won +1, I think. Sutton's big play, Russell's throw. Defensively, but we did a good job harassing the quarterback, both of them. So, but it was a good win. I hope that's something that you can say about our team, that we're a physical team, because it's something that we emphasize when we think, you know, emotionally, physically, you have to be tough. And we were today.
Let's dive into this Broncos offense a little bit more here. They executed when they needed to, but it wasn't a barn burner by any means, Nick. What do you see from that side of the ball?
No, it wasn't a barn burner, but it was all about trying to sustain drives and just be more efficient. And the Broncos were more efficient on third down than they were last week against the Texans. So I'm sure the team and Coach Sean Payton, they're both happy about that. Still a lot of things that they need to iron out, trying to get Jerry Jeudy back into the game. We go back to a level of confidence. When you haven't been involved in the offense in a long time, it becomes frustrating. But hopefully next week, bounce back, better game.
Yeah, 6 targets. He ended up with 2 catches and 16 yards. Did seem like maybe some of the little details, get those things ironed out, and then maybe he'll be more of a part of this offense moving forward here. Javonte Williams, 17 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown there. It seems like the Broncos got back to what they were doing during that 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, they did, and to me that was leaning on the run game, but not just saying, hey, we're just going to run the ball, but being really efficient in running the ball to make the defense play honest, to open those passes and windows down the field. It paid dividends, especially in the fourth quarter with the touchdown from Russ to Trotman, because the defense was thinking, okay, we got Russ dead to rights, or we got the run game, but who's this guy leaking out? It's Adam Trotman. But this is what a nice run game can do for you, and actually helped out the quarterback as well.
21 of 33, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he did have an interception there, first play of the game through that interception. So back to what was working, back to how the Broncos had won those 5 games, and I also thought they did a nice job on Khalil Mack too. He really was not ever a huge factor in this one. Let's hear from Russell Wilson after the game.
I think the best thing that we can do is stay focused on us and playing our best football. I think that's really key. I think the best thing too is I told you guys at the beginning of the week, painting a picture that the truth is our season, we're 5-1 over the past 6 weeks now 6-1. And that's, we kept telling the guys, hey, we kept talking about that. I kept telling the guys early in the week, that's the reality, that's the truth over the past 7 weeks. Now we're 6-1. I think that there's great belief. Told the guys in the huddle before the last knee, stay humble and hungry. Let's keep going. We're not even at our best yet, and that's a good thing.
So that's Russell Wilson at the podium. Let's talk about the other side of the ball, Nick. I know you've been dying to talk about this Broncos defense. A tremendous effort out there. They were really flying around all day long.
Well, even when Herbert was in the game, he was under constant duress. Once again, I got to give it to Vance Joseph being really creative. And there was a play, it was 4th and 22, when Stick was in the game. And you thought, well, the Broncos pretty much have the game in hand, and Vance Joseph was going to sit back. No, he did not. What he decided to do, send P.J. Locke off the edge. That is something that we've seen building over the past couple of weeks. And when you talk about the straw that stirs the drink, that is the Broncos defense. those young guns they have outside on the edge, Nick Bonito, Baron Brown, and Jonathan Cooper, those guys have contributed a lot. We just have to wait to see what the news is on Nick Bonito. But it was another collective effort. But I would be remiss if I didn't remember, mention this guy, Alex Singleton.
Oh my gosh!
Last week, you look at the Twitterverse, they were all
over
Broncos fans based on that penalty that led to a Texans touchdown. But when you talk about a guy who's constantly leading this defense in tackles, it is Alex Singleton. Now, he may not have the blazing speed as Roquan Smith, but when you talk about knowing where to be at the right time, both he and Joseph Jewell have been those guys for the Broncos defense.
Yeah, I mean, Singleton's been playing like one of the best linebackers in the league, Nick.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he's the motor that makes this defense go. He's flying around. Of course, the hair helps.
Right.
I think, it makes it look like he's moving faster than he actually is. And you mentioned it there, 6 sacks today for this Broncos defense. They were really getting after him. And, it's a good day for this defense when you don't hear the name Justin Simmons too much. Pat Surtain even. Those guys were never even really tested that much today.
No, they were not. But the names that we're getting used to hearing, you mentioned Alex Singleton, but Jaquan McMillan.
Oh, my gosh.
PJ Lott. These guys continue to make plays. And when you look at some of these young players that are coming to play and they're coming and rounding into form, and I have to say this, with P.J. Locke in the lineup, it adds a different element to this defense that the defense didn't have before. It's no shade against Kareem Jackson, but it's just looking at where the defense is now opposed to where they were before. You got to give credit to those players making those impact plays, but also you got to give it to Vance Joseph putting those players in those positions to make those plays.
Yeah, those guys are really talented coming off the edge and scheming up those blitzes there. And I think we've seen enough from those two young guys to know, hey, this is more than just a couple of good games in a row. I mean, these guys are doing it every single week. So a great sign there for this Broncos defense. Let's go inside the locker room out at SoFi and check in with Sidney Jones.
Thanks, Phil. We're here inside the locker room with cornerback Jaquan McMillan. Jaquan, head coach Sean Payton said that this was one of the better team wins here tonight. You guys haven't won a divisional road game since 2019, this first one since then. So, what can you just say about what you guys were able to do here tonight to get back on track?
I actually didn't know that, but we just treated it as another game, another road game. We just wanted to go out there and do our job, do the details, and fly around and do our job, get out to the quarterback. Them guys, I think we had like 6 sacks, so that makes the secondary jobs a lot easier. So that was big. So it was just another game for us. We just wanted to go out there and fight, and we knew we did our job and focus on the details. We was gonna get the win.
You guys are now 7-6, right in the thick of things here, heading into the playoffs in the middle of December here. So what has the turnaround really just meant for this team?
I think it's just the mindset. The locker rooms is just, we want to win. We want to win. We practice like that, and we come every day and bring it. Coaches always say you win the games early in the week. So early in the week, we already running around, we flying around, we just trying to do everything right, and then that translates to Sundays.
Yeah, Jaquan, last one for you. I could hear the music blaring outside the locker room here after the game. What did head coach Sean Payton really say to you guys after this game?
He's just proud of us, and we're not done yet. It's a lot more to improve on. We got more work to do. We got a short week, so this is behind us now. We got to come in tomorrow, prepare for Saturday night, and hopefully we can get the job done Saturday night.
Jaquan, appreciate your time. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Nick, next we got the Lions on Saturday night next week, and then from there on out, the Broncos, they get on another roll here a little bit.
Yeah, the Broncos control their own destiny, and that's where you want to be, especially once again. It sounds like it's a repetitive thing, but we always have to go back to it. The Broncos were 1-5 at one point, and no one thought that they would actually get to where they are now. So every game is a must-win game from here on out. And we always hear that cliche saying, one possession per game. One game, you have to get out there and try to do what you need to do. But this is where the Broncos are right now. Confidence continues to build, and winning a game like this against a division rival. And I think, Phil, the Broncos haven't won a divisional game on the road. It may date back to
2019.
2019.
11 in a row.
That's a long time. So that's a confidence booster for this team. Like you mentioned, short week before they played the Detroit Lions, a team that lost against Justin Fields and the Bears today. But you can't look at that team being the Lions and say, well, this is going to be a cakewalk. That team and their coach, they're going to fight the Broncos tooth and nail, but we're going to need to see a better offense unit production as a group on Saturday against the Detroit Lions.
They need to take it one game at a time. We don't need to do that. We can look at all these other things.
Yeah, well, that's the difference between. So for me and you, we're not playing the game. So I'm sure Coach Payton is telling his team, even though they're celebrating so far, stadium, is that, listen, it's a game-by-game type of situation for us. We played well collectively to win the ball game, but we got some 4 games remaining down the stretch. You need to win to put yourself in a position. They need to make sure that that confidence level is off the charts. So if they continue to win games like they won today, that confidence level is going to be out of this world.
Yeah, got to be happy here. A 24-7 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. The Broncos now 7-6 on the year, just 1 game behind the Kansas City Chiefs in the division. All right, that's going to do it for us. For Nick Ferguson, I am Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.